We are on page at Beis. Um, Amen. This is 7 lines from the end of that top paragraph, the wide lines. The line begins with the word Mochin l'nukva. So, we have discussed the principle that indeed we find Mochin, which is Chabad, manifest and mislabish in lower koiches, where the lower koiches are not really receptacles, not really suited for that hislapshus. The principle of receptacles means that they can unite with the Inyan HaMochin. As we have already come to sense and been pointing it out all the time, Mochin even though it is present in a worldly environment, on a worldly level, yet the worldly element in it is totally non-participant. It's not sensed, like we say in the case of the eye seeing. You see, the experience of sight is phenomenal, but you don't have the eye participation, which is the physical element in that whole experience, in the whole phenomenon. Sight is an neshama experience, the ruchnistic experience. You don't even sense that you're seeing it via some kind of a organ. This is Mochin. Mochin is where, just like the moyach in the head, the moyach is so extremely sensitive to the neshama that it is essentially a non-participant. You sense life itself, not the functionality of life, the effect of it. Life itself. This is Chochmah, Bina, Das, and this is Mochin in general. This quality of Mochin and we demonstrate, I'm stepping back a bit, we demonstrate this quality at the lower worldly level. We say that it is present. Mochin is mislavish on the lower level in midot, and then finally even in chitzonius midot on the functional level. So we pointed out, just as an illustration, that if you want to move a physical item, on a physical level, you're moving it away from the place where it is and moving it elsewhere. there has to be some kind of an interface. It shouldn't be here. Let's move it away. Mochin have a complete. Mochin recognize where this Indian should be, and it goes directly there to the place where it should be. Only in Mochin is there such a concept that it should be this way. Midot is reactive. I feel good about it, I don't feel good about it. Mochin is not a question how I feel about it. What is the right thing? What is the truth? This is just a quick reminder of what we have discussed already in the last several days. Then there is the ha'or of the Mochin that actually is recognized as imbued in midot, even on the functional level. On the functional level, this is what's called the nehi de'ema. Nehi, as we explained yesterday, nehi are the three qualities called netzach, hoid, yisoid. These three qualities, netzach, hoid, yisoid, are describing a means by which one overcomes obstacles. Which means that you are you're not in an essential state. You're in a state where you're exposed to an external environment, and there will be obstacles in your way, and that's how you say it, is the means by which you follow through on your path and you overcome obstacles. As an example, when we say, but Hashem said, where a person wants to be, this is where he is, that is a reality in and of itself. There are no obstacles. I'm where I want to be. Then when it comes down to the lower level, when you have to, so to speak, bring along the entire worldly element with you, then there are obstacles. You have to overcome the distance. And then some. There are valleys and hills, and there's twists and turns. This is the way. For this you need already the union of netzach and hoid yisoid. This is what's called the chitzonius haMochin and the chitzonius of midot. Okay, so we underline that begins Mochin and Nukva. As I said, this is 7 lines from the end of that top section, the wide lines. V'yesh b'zeh ha'ora mibchinas v'ov k'tzobes de'ema. Within this phenomenon of the midot, the higher midot, as midot manifests himself and direct the practical level of action, the malchus. Within that, there is a ha'or of Mochin. This is called Vov K'tzobes de'ema. Vov K'tzobes de'ema. Vov K'tzobes means the 6 dimensions. Six dimensions clearly, immediately allude to the fact that it has a presence within a worldly environment. Let's try and get into this briefly. We spoke many times that the way things are perceived in Chokhmah, and we'll use sight again as the demonstration, which is a proper Mochin, but we have to then understand that this is how this is different in the physical reality and versus the spiritual reality. In sight, there's a phenomenal thing, as we point out all the time. How is it that at a split second, in an instant, timelessly, we can observe the entire panorama, which may be miles and miles and miles across? This experience of seeing in a second the entire panorama does not go through the process of seeing each mile individually, even though this whole panorama consists of thousands of miles. And each one is a presence. But we don't go through that process. How is it that this is so real and we don't go through the process of identifying each mile independently? And the answer to this is the explanation for this is the principle of sight differs from the principle of touch. In touch, it is your experience that tells you about the object. Sight, it is the truth of the existence of that reality is what makes it visible to you. It is not your experience. This is important to understand. This truth exists not because you see it. It exists because the Rebbe created it. So in sight, really you see it from the Creator's vantage point. From the Creator's vantage point, it doesn't take up any room. He wants it, so it's there. Like we say, it wants to be there. So it is there because the Creator gives it command. It should be. This is the vantage point from which we observe in sight objects. Like we said, it is there because it is there. This is the way Chokhmah perceives things. This is why Chokhmah connects one to that which is the high world. And this is, in physical level, we have the similar experience. If we doubt that there is a world, then sight will not show it to us. This is why the Rambam says that the first principle of Chokhmah, and this is the first principle for all human perception, is that there is a first being. that there is a reality. That enables you to see everything. I see it. I don't know how I see it. Oh, the first being makes it visible. I don't even have to go through this logical process. I right away see this is the reality. This reality is beyond functional, beyond the developmental process. I see that which there is to see. Why? Not because I pursue it and I see it, but because it's shown to me. It's shown to me from a level beyond being able to see it, but from a level of reality itself. The most closer to us, if we can understand this, I think, at this point, we just want to demonstrate this, totally on a physical level, where we actually can relate to it on an experiential level. I've explained. Life is not something that we physically, actively pursue, make ourselves live, like we breathe. Breath is not an active pursuit. Breath is that which is imbued into us. And if we had to actively pursue it, that would not be experience of life. That would be torture. Even on a physical level. Rebbe should create a world. In this world there's going to be life. Because there is an essence of life in this world. A total environment of life. As a result of that, there could be subsets, little creatures, and havdil human beings that can live on a physical level, because the whole physicality of the world actually has a living element to it. And if we are sitting here and we're living, we're breathing, and I have to get up and go outside or go to the next room, I'm not contemplating, is there air in that room? But I need the air. How can I move away from here? The answer is I'm not breathing the air that's in here. I'm breathing the air that exists in the reality. I'm not even taking it in, it's being put into me. This is the level of Mochin. Reality itself doesn't have a tangible presence, it has a reality presence. This Mochin element follows through down to the whole Seder Hishtalshelus. And we say, this is what's called Bov Ktsovis de Eima. What means Bov Ktsovis de Eima? There's no Bov Ktsovis, it's a reality itself. So where is the Bov Ktsovis? Bov Ktsovis means a physical presence. 6 dimensions. There's no physical presence. There's just the reality of life itself. So this we explained the other day, the day before yesterday. That, yes indeed, Chochmah Chabad sees the truth from a reality perspective. But there is a purpose, there's an aim, there's a design, what for there is Chochmah. What for do we perceive it? And that is to bring this Inyan into a physical reality, into physical conditions. This Inyan, that this has the mission to bring in the physical dimension, this is constitutes the Bob Ktsovis of sechel. That sechel already relates to the Bob Ktsovis because of its mission to bring it down to the world of reality. Even though it's not based on it, but it can see it at that level. And these Bob Ktsovis, despite that in being we see things with dimensions, with 6 dimensions, this is what enables it to come down into midot. If we saw it exclusively from a spiritual, from a neshama perspective, then it wouldn't come into midot. Midot is a worldly presence. To demonstrate how this would actually be, we have compassion, we have chesed, we have kindness and all that. The midot of kindness does not conceptualize that there is somebody who needs kindness. Like the Mochin, that somebody who is independently wealthy cannot conceive that you don't have money to buy a pound of bread. Doesn't understand what you're talking about. In order to understand it, he has to contemplate within his own environment, in his wealth, that all his wealth is actually a presence in the world. It is not, he does not have it automatically. He earned it. He accumulated it in a worldly environment. He has to translate it on the lower level. Then he can relate to somebody who needs the help with it. This is why we always say, somebody who came into wealth without the process of accumulating it doesn't know what wealth is. It's not a worldly reality. That's to conclude, since the time is banging on us, and we came to a point which is extremely opportune moment. Ayin is of that caliber. Ayin does not need to be proven that there is a Beis, a creator. He sees it from a perspective not of discovery, but of Amunah. It was always there, I didn't get to it. It's something which is being filled in, just like air is filled into my nostrils, is filled into my brain. This is the reality of Ayin. Unfortunately, we're going in Golus and we have all kinds of different influences, all kinds of different perceptions. But the ultimate truth, this is what Ayin is. Yes, use the opportunity to bring out this reality. That's why it shows from Shabbos. The world says, how do you know? How do I know? How can you not know? Aber zeho rak haoro madreg chitzeni is the Mochin. This Inyan, the gimel, the above ktsobes of Bina is only Haora Chitzon is the Mechin. This is the Chitzon is Haora. Which says, as we said, that the entire world, the entire expanse of the tens of miles that we see across, there is some kind of a reality to it, a Mochin reality. The Atzmus HaMochin, and the essence of Mochin, Hein Begimel Rishonis Dafka. That is sensed only in Gimel Rishonis. And the Gimel Rishonis means the three top levels. The Gimel Rishonis, this is Chabad. In Chabad, in the Moyach, as we said the other day, in the very flesh of the Moyach, we sense the reality. We don't need to be proven. That's the Etzem HaMoich. By Mashakosem Beis Chaim. Let me suggest that we look up what it says in Eitz Chaim Shara Partzufim Dav Gimel. V'zal Shein. Here it says in Eitz Chaim. Here we'll try to dig in with Eitz Chaim just as far as we can go. Ki yiker ha-moichin hu. He says in Eitz Chaim that the principle of Mochin, the core of Mochin, is bechinas neshama pnimis. Is the aspect of the deeper and essential neshama. Shebeteich ha-gimel neshama mamish. The neshama element that is in the gimel neshama, that is in these three madregas of Mochin. The Yikir HaMochin is the neshama pnimis. In our terminology, before we go on, I don't like to skip, this is very, very deep. In our terminology, this means the fact that we can observe and recognize that there is a truth, that there is a correct way of looking at things, and there's a truth. The fact that we can observe and recognize that there is a truth, this is the way the Chitzon is. The Iker Inyan is, like we said just a moment ago when talking about the human being, is the Neshama Pnimis. There is only the reality. The reason that there is anything is because the Rebbe makes it. Nothing exists without an intent, a godly intent. This is the Neshama Pnimis. All right, we have to interrupt. Once you start walking in the world, every inch takes, it's a mile.